haven't been in my new house very long, and when I first arrived, my garden was pretty much a blank canvas. My gardening knowledge is pretty limited. Considering this garden is compact, and I share the space with a dog and 2 cats, I initially thought that rewilding might be a bit of a challenge, but I've come to see with my own experience that small efforts can make a massive difference. Please bear in mind I'm still learning, and I welcome any constructive feedback you might have. But here are some of the steps that I've taken so far. I've introduced pollinator-friendly plants. This wasn't too costly, especially since I shopped around at different stores. Supermarkets in particular proved to be great for finding reasonably priced options. I try and embrace longer grass where I can. Sometimes it's a bit difficult with the animals, but I don't keep it looking like a golf course. I've also allowed sections of the grass to grow longer, so you could say there's wild patches on the lawn. I have planted trees. I have a couple of apple trees, I have a cherry tree, and as you can see here, a willow tree, and I've got another twisted willow to plant as well. Trees provide shelter and nesting spots for birds. I have mini wildflower areas. There's one main wildflower zone in the garden, but I have sprinkled wildflower seeds across the whole garden, not really knowing what I was doing. I also allow certain weeds to grow, and these create habitats and a source of food for wildlife. The way I see it, the more green areas, the better. I've also included some natural elements, so I have a water feature. I've got rocks and logs, and this attracts various insects to the garden. I don't use any pesticides, as I know these are really damaging to pollinators and other wildlife. In just a span of 5 months, the transformation in my garden has been remarkable. I now regularly see bees, wasps, butterflies, worms, beetles, dragonflies. I absolutely love the garden, and I'm excited to see how it's going to evolve over time. Rewilding your garden is important for a number of reasons. One of the main reasons is that it can help to increase biodiversity and provide habitat for a variety of species of plants and animals. This can help to support ecosystem function and services such as pollination, pest control, and soil health. Additionally, rewilding your garden can help to improve the aesthetic and recreational value of your outdoor space, and can also provide educational opportunities for learning about nature and conservation. Rewilding your garden can also help to improve the resilience of your local ecosystem, making it more resistant to environmental changes such as climate change and urbanization. Reduce or eliminate the use of pesticides and chemical fertilizers. These can be harmful to wildlife and the environment. Instead, use organic methods to control pests and diseases. Plant native species of trees, shrubs, and flowers. There are many native plants and flowers in the UK that can provide food and habitat for a variety of wildlife. Some options to consider planting in your garden include wildflowers. These can provide nectar and pollen for bees, butterflies, and other pollinators. Some popular wildflowers for the UK include oxeye daisy, red campion, and wild strawberry. Hedgerows. These can provide food and shelter for a variety of birds, mammals, and insects. Some native hedgerow plants include hawthorn, blackthorn, and dogrose. Shrubs. These can provide food and shelter for birds and insects. Some native shrubs for the UK include elder, holly, and guelder rose. Trees. Trees can provide food, shelter, and nesting sites for a variety of birds and mammals. Some native trees for the UK include oak, ash, and willow. Grasses. These can provide food and nesting sites for birds and insects. Some native grasses for the UK include meadow grasses and fescues. Create a pond or water feature. This will provide a source of water for wildlife and also attract birds and insects. Allow for some areas of the garden to grow wild. This will provide natural habitats for wildlife such as insects, butterflies and birds. And it really will be a wonder for you to go out and watch the wildlife. It doesn't take long for it to start thriving. Provide nesting sites for birds by installing bird houses, nest boxes or bird feeders. Avoid mowing the lawn too often or cutting down wildflowers, weeds and other nuisance plants. These plants provide important food and habitat for wildlife. Create a compost pile, which will provide food for wildlife and reduce the amount of waste sent to landfills. Provide shelters and hiding places for small mammals like hedgehogs. Create log piles or rockeries. These are just a few steps that you can take to rewild your garden. There's so much more you can do. Rewilding your garden can help to create a more sustainable and livable environment for both humans and wildlife.